Hello everybody and welcome to this Planet Zoo tutorial. This video is going to be split up into two different sections. The first section being underwater viewing areas, and I'm going to show you two different variants as well of how to accomplish the underwater viewing area, and the second section obviously the underwater tunnel. If you follow the steps in this guide, it should work for you as well. So we're going to go into barriers first. This is going to be your underwater viewing area, probably the most simplest way how to do it. Like I said, I will show you two different ways. Now you want to select any glass, but for underwater viewing areas, I like to go this glass here, which is the thick glass. I just think it looks better. And then you want to start placing your glass for your viewing area. Now I like to raise this to about 5 or 6 meters. You want enough so it holds the water and it looks decent. And then you can adjust however you want. You can change the length, you can change the height, however you want. I'm going to go 12 length. And then the design is totally up to you as well, but this is what I like to do. I like to create kind of like a little circular, well, half circular viewing area made of glass like this. Now the glass is in, this is going to be your viewing area. Now we need to match this with terrain. So go into your terrain tool, and we want to bring your terrain up just above the glass. So let's slightly raise it until you see the top of that glass, the top of that pole there, just disappear like that. And then we're going to go on flatten terrain. We're going to reduce the size, and all we're going to do is move on over all the way to the other post, like so. And then we're going to create an area here of flattened terrain, what is raised from the original ground level. What I want to do is just trim off the edges now and bring it as close to the barrier as we possibly can, like this. Make everything look a little bit more neater and a little bit more better. Now you want to go back into your barriers, and you want to just place your barrier inside the terrain itself like that. Just one. And same on this one. Just one like that. Now when we go to add the water now, hopefully this will work. So water, there you go. You can add the water. Obviously it's got a bit of a lip on here, but again you can hide this with rocks, you can smooth it over, but the main thing is the water's in, and your guests are going to have a view what looks like this. Obviously there's two more things what we need to add now to make this viable. First thing is a slope on this terrain here, back down. That's right, back down like this. I'll show you how to do it. You can bring it up a little bit, back down to the surface, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I want to do this so the animals and our zookeepers actually have access to the habitat. Now I will show you and skip forward a little bit to what a habitat just like this will look in the end once it's finished, but before that I'm just going to show you how to get your paths in. Now we know Planet Zoo has a very tricky path system sometimes, but we just want to get it close enough. Don't worry if it's not right up to, but just close enough. There we go, that'll do. Just close enough, as close as we can to the actual barrier like this. And like I said, do not worry about the little gaps. Everything can be covered up. You can cover it up with a custom path, which is really easy. And you can cover it up with like rocks and foliage and stuff like that. And honestly, with a little patience and perseverance, this is how you create quite a simple underwater viewing area. Now I'm going to show you how it can come out looking in the end. And here we go. This is how your habitat, using the method I just showed you, can come out looking in the end. You can see just around the edge what I talked about here. We've got all foliage and rock work down to cover up those nasty gaps. At the side where the jagged edges will be, again I've covered it up with rocks and foliage. To hide the lip, again rock and foliage. You've seen a theme here, aren't you? And then you can see the slope is in what goes back down to ground level into the inside bit here where our lovely platypus, that's what I decided to put in this habitat, can gain access to and from. You can see them just climbing the hill now, and they will access the water too. And what an amazing view to have for your guest. And if you are wondering how I did put the habitat gate in, I'm going to show you. So let's bring up the user interface and we'll go on barriers. And this is the barrier. You can see our glass barrier just joins on to a null barrier, and all the exits for the animals so they can't get out are joined by rock, and that blocks them getting out, and it works really well as well. You can see our guests are now coming in for that lovely view. Right, on to the second example, but this time it's going to be an underwater viewing area. So we obviously need to dig down, so let's go on the push, and we're going to dig down. You can use the terrain stamp as well, but I would suggest doing it actually quite deep. Okay, maybe not as deep as I've done it here though, that is quite deep. So let's come up a little bit. Again, flatten terrain. We want to create a little hole where our body of water will be. Just like that. Obviously it's up to you how big or how you want it. And this is where our body of water will be. So just get rid of the water for a minute, and we're going to start placing our barriers. So again, go into barriers, any glass barrier you wish. But again, I'm going to use the thick one because somehow I just seem to like it. And we want to think about where our viewing area will be. So for this example, I want our viewing area to be on the right hand side. So I'm going to cut this off, and I'm just going to do it by simply placing barriers, and make sure you go underground again. So that's lost in the terrain now, as you can see. And then the other side, again, we want it lost in terrain. And then we want to select one, select all, and we want to raise this up as high as it can go. Just like that. And now what we want to do is obviously add the water. So let's go on to terrain, and the water should add. There we go. You don't want it too high because that'll happen. So there we go. And there's our underground viewing area. And now we need to place paths. Like I said in the last example, just try to get it. I don't know why there's a path under there. Try to get it as close as possible to the barrier as you can. Make sure you flatten terrain in your settings is on, and just build the path like that. And now we need to go back into settings, and we need to turn tunneling on and flatten terrain off. And then we're just simply going to come up. And you can have it as a slope like that. This is totally up to you once again. Or you can have it as actual stairs. It bloody works, that is. Let's go back to where we was. Honestly, if you're watching this video, you probably know that the tunneling system on this game is not the best. Let's go forward one, and then let's go up to stairs. And then we are out. We can turn tunneling off, and then we can build a tunnel again on the actual level what we started on. And you just do the same on the other side, and then you can cover this with rocks if you want. Again, cover it as much as you can, and you have your underground viewing area. But another neat thing you can do, you can actually cover all of this. So if you go back into terrain, and then you can just flatten it, and you can cover all of this. You can have just this bit showing if you like, or you can totally cover this as well. So it's a fully immersed underwater viewing area. Your guests will walk down there and be able to see into the habitat itself. And just like that, ta-da, this is the example I wanted to show you. I created this, kind of went with like a Jaws theme here, but this habitat here does have an underground and underwater viewing area. I love this habitat, one of my favourite. Shark Shack, love it. Anyway, you can see from the outside here, that is where the underwater viewing area, and I've also placed a feeding station here to draw whatever animal I want to put in here. Fortunately, we do not have sharks, but if we did, I'd definitely put them in here. And here is the underwater viewing area. You can see I've just covered it with rocks and foliage. I just always find that's the best thing to do. Our guests have access to it, and all they have to do is go into this quite scary tunnel, if I do say so. And there you go. There is the underwater viewing area underground. Right, welcome to the second part of this video, where I'm going to show you how to create an underwater tunnel so your guests can walk through, look up at your animals swimming above, a bit like an aquarium. Now, it's going to be quite quick at this part because it's actually probably more easy than you think it actually is. Once you've got your terrain stamp on and you've dug down and you designated an area for your body of water, by the way, make sure it's at least 10 meters, I would say. 10 meters down. You can do this by going into your terrain stamp and then adjusting it to the bottom right 10 meters and then just going down. What you want to do now is you want to not add the water, you want to have a path. Now you see I've got a path here, and we want to make sure tunneling is on. And we want to go as close to the edge as we can, just like that. And now we want to dig down one. So you want to hold shift and move your mouse button down like that. Just one, like that. And now we want to go flat again. So let's go flat again, like that. And then go out 2, I would say. Bring it to the surface, like that. And then we want to delete this. So delete that. And we also want to delete this, delete that. So we just got the flat bit and the stairs going up at this point and a gap here. Now we want to cover this gap now. Obviously we need to use the terrain tool. So let's go on pull. And we just want to pull this in, basically. Don't think about how attractive it looks at the minute. Flatten this back out again, just like that. And now add the water. Obviously you can smooth stuff over. You can always add foliage and rocks, by the way, you know that. Add the water. Now we've got a path next to some water. And now, hopefully, fingers crossed, it should work. It does. We just need to build the path under the water, like that. Again, on the other side. By the way, if it shows red like that, that means that it's close. It's too close to the water. So just come out a little bit more and then it will go blue, like you see in there. So there we go. We've got a path under the water. So let's go down and have a look, shall we? Let's go down. Obviously, this is how your guest would get down. Now, you see, we've got a path and we've got water. And your animals will swim over this. And your guest can walk through this. Obviously, we've got jagged edges and the path's a bit skew with. Again, rocks and foliage. Just cover it up. Do a botch up job on it. And now what I like to do is add different things. Like to give it that tunnel light. Obviously, you can add rocks if you want. But glass is a very good option. So let's have a look what we can do with the glass, shall we? Let's turn my blueprints off. Now, there's this, which probably makes a good tunnel because it's circular. But this path is a little bit wide. So I'm thinking we go into roofs and we do this. Does this work? Oh, it does work, but we want more of an arch. Okay. Let's do not that one. Let's do... Oh, this will obviously work as well if you have a narrow path, this building piece. What do we want? Actually, let's do this. So let's do that. Let's do that. And you can see how the tunnel is now forming and starting to look really aquarium-like. You can adjust this and move it, obviously, lower it down if you wish. Cover the jagged edges with whatever you want, but there is your viewing area. You, like I said, your guests will walk through it and your animals will swim over it. Just bear in mind though that if you go too high with your camera, you will start to actually be underwater. But don't worry, your guests won't drown. This is how it looks from the top. Again, you can cover this with the terrain tool, or you can cover it with rocks, or just leave it like that if you want. It's totally up to you. Hope this video helped. If it did help, then hit that like button if you're new around to this channel. Then subscribe if you want to see more Planet Zoo videos. My name's Adam. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next Planet Zoo video.